A few days ago, I went onto my social media pages and I posted a question. I asked, what is the most important thing in life according to you? And I can assure you that very many people gave different answers. In fact, that thread is still going on. Some people are saying health is important to them. Some are saying life itself is important to them. Some are saying God is important to them. Having a life of purpose is important to them. Each individual had a unique answer to them. Some people are saying money is the most important thing to life and so on. But I can tell you this one thing. As human beings, there are some things that if they are not in place, we are not going to be fulfilled as we're supposed to be. And I'm going to be talking about fulfillment in the next few episodes. If we are looking to be fulfilled, there are some things that we cannot put into our lives to seek fulfillment. In fact, by the way, every working day, do you know what is happening to people? Every working day, people are looking for things to fill the gaps that have been left by lack of fulfillment. So you look for a relationship, you look for accommodation, you look for money, you look for gadgets, you look for this and you look for that in order to make your life smooth. But the life is not going to be smooth that way by using some outside in thing. Today in the podcast, I want us to start talking about how we can see fulfillment coming into our lives. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Let me start by asking this question, depending on the question that I asked on my social media page. Let me start asking this question also on this podcast. Is $1 million some kind of security or safety from stress? Or maybe for you, $1 million is such a small thing. Is money, hordes of cash, security? Is it an immunity against stress? A lot of money, is it security against stress? Now, it is interesting to note how we live our lives on a daily basis. I will do with $1 million today. The other day, I had a visionary who is saying, if you gave us $10 million, it is already spent. It is gone. In fact, there are very many things that we need to get done. The $10 million will be gone in a minute. That is a good outlook of life, because the $10 million is actually being channeled towards things. And that is exactly the crux of the matter. In fact, that is the message of this episode today. The fulfillment is not about acquisition. Fulfillment is always going to be about doing things that count, things that matter. Because we can acquire, and we do acquire things. We acquire fridges, of course, we acquire entertainment gadgets, we acquire transportation gadgets, we acquire these houses, and we acquire things and so on. But pray tell me, how come people who are acquiring are still as stressed as those ones who have not even acquired? In fact, by the way, there is a silent group of people who are not acquiring, but they are fulfilled. They are okay in what they are doing. What is the difference in there? What is the difference between those people who are acquiring, they're having things in their lives, they are they're getting anything that money can buy, but still there is an emptiness. Still there is an emptiness. Why is it that the people who are the top earners in the world today, how come they are dedicated to giving away all that they have acquired? Because a life of fulfillment is not necessarily a life of acquiring things. A life of fulfillment that is devoid of stress, it is a life of actually living a life that matters, living a life that makes a difference in the world. That is where fulfillment comes in. We wrongly feel that if we can only get our hands on that cash. If you saw a man walking in the streets with a hordes of cash, a briefcase filled with $1 million, in fact, the aura around that guy is totally different. He looks like he's invincible. He feels like he's invincible. He feels like he can conquer the whole wide world. And the person, by the way, who is having debts piling up and less streams of income, and income is just trickling in, might be stressed. But I am talking about fulfillment at the end of the day. Chances are that the man who is walking in the streets with a briefcase full of $1 million that has been rightfully acquired, by the way, there has some kind of invincibility, some kind of aura about him. There is an aura of possibility around them. He's able to listen to ideas and is able to dare those ideas. Chances are that things kept constant. Such a one person is happy, such a one person is energized, such a person is inspired until something gets uploaded into his mind. Even that $1 million notwithstanding. And the thing is that we all want to end each day on a high note. We all want to end our days with feelings of satisfaction, feelings of achievement, feelings of inspiration and strength and momentum. Even the man with hordes of cash around him is not assured of these incredible effects, these incredible benefits of this daily habit that is going to make us to be fulfilled. It is very much possible that this kind of man will be stressed at the end of the day. See, it goes a long way to tell us that as much as money answers all things, there's a scripture that says that the money answers all things. There are higher laws. That is the crux of this episode. There are higher laws of life that if we are not going to follow those higher laws, even money at the end of the day is not going to bail us out. Money is going to be temporarily, money is like this. I don't know what happens, by the way. Do you know, if you have ever been broke and you have no money around you, the moment you hear a chime on your phone and either money has been uploaded on your account or on your mobile phone, the aura around you just all of a sudden changes. The feeling of having possibility and feeling of having, things that you can be able to do with the money comes back, and you're a totally different person who was stressed a few minutes ago. So money has a way of changing the moods. The same way that someone injects themselves with some kind of drug and they get on a high is the same thing that money does. And the problem is that we can get hooked to that high, so much so that when the money is not there, we are on a serious low. And we look at impossibilities in life, even where possibility is beckoning. We're looking at all impossibilities in life, and we start, by the way, on a high note, we start looking at our own selves. Our image starts diminishing. We look at ourselves as useless and valueless. And embarrassment starts coming us, shame starts coming at us because money is not there. But you see, guys, at the end of the day, the thing is this. we can be so much on this money high when the money is there, to such an extent that we are totally oblivious of what is going to bring fulfillment into our lives. What is going to bring fulfillment into our lives is not the money, but it is actually the effectiveness of our lives with the money or even without the money. The money is absolutely critical. How we channel it. Like that visionary who said, if you gave us 10 million, it is gone already. It is already spent. See, that is the use of money. Of course, we need to pay our bills. We need to make sure that we are not being embarrassed. We need to put food on the table, put clothes on our back, and so on and so forth. That is just on the rudimentary level. But if we are looking for fulfillment in life, there are different things that are going to happen. And what is going to tie all those different things together is just one thing. One thing. And that is why you and I were sent here on earth, to make a difference. You will not make a difference by sitting back and just enjoying life on yourself. You will not make a difference by doing nothing. Even if you had the money in your account and so on, the fulfillment that you're going to get out of this life is through making a difference in someone else's life. It goes a long way to tell us that as much money as we want might not be the answer to the question of fulfillment. There are higher laws that we need to obey. And I'm going to talk about just one law in this podcast. This very day, today, a snapshot of life. The question is, how many people out there are walking with $1 million in their briefcases? The answer is, it is a handful. There are 7 billion people on the face of the earth today. How many of those 7 billion people are walking around with $1 million in their briefcase? It's a handful of them. But then again, in comparison, how many people of the 7 billion people that are existing on the face of the earth, how many of those people are happy? How many of those are blessed? How many of those are satisfied? How many of those are inspired? They have internal energy, they have peace of mind, they have speed and momentum in their pursuits. My simple guess, ladies and gentlemen, is this: they are more than the handful of people who are walking with $1 million in their briefcases. The word that describes a state of lacking momentum and motivation and joy and hope and happiness and the aura of being carefree in this world is the word stress. You see, stress does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, the young and the old. It is one common denominator that cuts across life in its fallen black world. But stress ought not to be our master in any way. We ought not to think that if we are stressed, then we are privileged. Stress is a killer of creativity. It's a killer of joy. It's a killer of energy and motivation. Stress has accounted for losses in profits and even the downfall of business empires. It has brought down marriages and the strongest of relationships. It has killed people's potential and led them astray from their life purposes. Stress is a killer. And the reason, one of the biggest reasons as to why stress is a killer, is people lacking fulfillment in their lives. People not doing that which they were called to do, regardless of the things that they are pursuing, regardless of the income that they are having, regardless of the things that they are accommodating and accumulating in their lives. They are not being led to live a life of contribution, a life of care, a life of purpose. And a life of purpose always is going to be a life of touching, making a difference in someone else's life. So if you wanted to live a life of fulfillment today, above the level of survival, putting food on the table and clothes on your back and paying your bills, Fulfillment is going to come as a result of you contributing into this world with your giftings, with your talents, with your passion, with your care, with your creativity, with your energy. If you use all these things just on yourself, you end up at the end of the day getting stressed. And so we're going to continue sharing about this in the next episode. But the word for today is this: you will be fulfilled to the degree that you'll be relevant to someone else in your life. Think about that. Until tomorrow, bye-bye. A special shout out to my mentor Jeffrey Howard of Visionary Business University, found at mastermindmentor.com, who has graciously provided me with the soundtrack and the introductory track to this podcast. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.